Hey guys, today I want to talk about small medical clinics in the Philippines, and there's a lot of them around. Some of them like Health Med, and there's a few others out there that you can just walk into, and if you have a small emergency or you want to get some pills or get a prescription or you want to get a wound cleaned or antibiotics for something, you can walk in there. In most cases, they'll take care of you. They're really not built for emergencies, but you know something? They'll take you for small things, okay? And they'll fix you up and you'll be on your way. And in most cases, when I walk into those places, usually I'm in and out within 15 minutes to a half an hour. And I gotta tell you, the service is pretty good. Not to say it's not gonna be like that all the time. Most medical places make you wait a lot longer, but I noticed that the ones near my house, they're really fast. And I've gone in there for multiple different things, multiple occasions, between having small infections or whatever and having them prescribe me with skin issues, and then have them prescribe me something. Or it could be something as simple as food poisoning or what have you, and them trying to help me out with that situation, you know, help settle my stomach or whatever it may be. But you know what? They're always there, and they're cheap. Sometimes they're as little as 300 pesos, $6. How can you beat $6? You can't beat $6. You know, and if you don't need a hospital, just go to those places. A lot of guys think like they need to go to a hospital or a specialist sometimes, and sometimes a regular MD can take care of you. And these MDs, the ones that I've seen here, is awesome, phenomenal. The doctor near me she's a phenomenal doctor. And there's also several other of these small medical clinics near me. And be careful when you walk in there to think that the place is all backed up and full, because a lot of times you walk in there, the place is full. But usually when I walk in there, they take me within 5 or 10 minutes ahead of the other people, because the other people I notice are waiting for their urinalysis results or their blood results or something like that. They're in there to use the lab. So don't get all flustered and get all your panties in a knot or something like that because, you know, oh man, this place is crowded, it'll be hours. No, most of the time, it's just 10 minutes. 10, 15 minutes, you're in, you're out, you're done. And I think you'll like the doctors, the nurses in there. One of the things I like about those places is they always treat you good. Now, I can't speak for every place, obviously. Each place is different. But the ones here in Tracy Mart Terrace, fantastic. You know, and I wanted to throw that out there for people as an alternative to going to the hospital. Because a lot of guys don't have a lot of money. And some of these places have pharmacies right next to them, or even in the building sometimes. And that's the great part about going to these small clinics, because they have a place next to them where you just walk over to the pharmacy, or sometimes there's a Mercury Drug or Watson's even nearby these places. You just walk over to those places and you get your prescription refilled, and it's fairly cheap. And that's the great part about these places, because for most outpatient stuff here, you can cover yourself. You know, for small things, you can cover yourself. I find that in most cases, I'll cover my outpatient and I'll be fine, you know. It's the inpatient you got to worry about, the hardcore stuff. If you, God forbid, you get cancer or heart attack or something like that happen to you, you want to make sure you have good inpatient care. And you have to, in order to get inpatient care, they have to admit you to the hospital for the insurance to pay for it. Always remember that. And some insurances, they make you wait a year before it kicks in. The first year is to get rid of all the all the pre-existing conditions that they might run into that they don't want to really cover, or if they're going to cover them, they want to charge you more. So be careful, guys. You know, you want to make sure that you get a good insurance and they know all your pre-existing conditions, so they're going to charge you properly. Because if they find out later on, they're not going to pay the bill, and you don't want to get stuck with that kind of bill. And one of the things is some insurances won't pay directly to the hospital. They want you to submit, and then you have to pay the bill. Well, how many people are walking around with $10,000 or $25,000? God forbid, if you have something serious happen to you, you have to have that emergency fund. Now, we've talked about the Pacific Cross and stuff like that, and some of the other insurance policies. Some of the insurance policies now are getting accepted by some of these hospitals here, and that's huge for us. Okay, but you have to check with the hospitals and make sure that they're on the list and everything. And a lot of the hospitals are getting on these lists, and that's good. That's awesome that they're on that list, because that way they'll just deal directly with the provider, your insurance provider, and they'll just bill them, and it's all good. It's all paid, okay? But have that money and have it available here in country somehow, or on a card that they can take it out and they can, they can bill it. Make sure that the hospitals that you use take maybe a credit card, or maybe they have an ATM nearby or something like that, because they don't even want you walking out of the hospital without paying the bill. And that's key. Be wary of these medical facilities, these big ones, these hospitals and stuff like that. It's pretty much the same in every hospital. They won't let you walk out unless you pay your bill, or you you sign something saying that you're going to pay it or whatever before you leave the hospital. Say, look, I obviously can't pay it. I'm not living here, so you're not keeping me here. So what's the deal? You have to let me loose. You can't hold me here forever. That's the law. They cannot hold you. Okay. A lot of people think that they can hold you. They can't. It's illegal for them to hold you, but you have to negotiate with them a payment schedule, and they're probably going to lock you into the country too, until you pay that bill. So make sure you have insurance. Make sure you're covered on all this stuff. This is something that most guys over here, they're crazy. They come over here and it's like jumping out of a plane without a parachute, and expecting to live. Something's going to happen sooner or later, and the impact's going to be pretty bad, So I mean, if you come over here without an insurance parachute, you're doomed. You're seriously doomed. It's not a good scene. So make sure you have that insurance, and make sure you have life insurance too, guys. I want to really push this on you guys because it's one of the key things over here that's really important. I really worry about guys when guys tell me, "Oh, Steve, I don't have any insurance." Some guys can come over here. If you're coming over here just to try it out for a while, you can usually get up to 6 months of travel insurance. Okay, and most of it's not that expensive. It's pretty decent. So you can get away with probably as little as $100 a month, I'll bet you, for some of those insurances. But at least if you have an emergency, you have that to fall back on. You can go back to that. I always tell people, if you're going to live here, though, either go through Pacific Prime, get 10 different quotes through them. Okay, Pacific Prime is online. Or you can go through Pacific Cross, and Pacific Cross has a peso plan and they have a dollar plan. Now, the peso plan's a lot cheaper. It's more for Filipinos. The coverage is less. But if you have $20 or $30 or $50,000 put aside for emergencies and stuff like that, you might want to self-insure plus have the Pacific Cross, it's like a peso plan, I call it, because it pays like out in pesos, where the other one is like a dollar plan, okay, and it pays out in dollars. It gives you like $1 million worth of coverage or what have you. Now, the peso plan, it gives you different coverage as in per room too. One's like a private room, one's semi-private, and then one is on like a ward, I guess. Each one gives you different coverage, okay? And one gives you higher coverage, one gives you lower coverage. You want to make sure that you get the highest coverage, okay? The private is probably the best, okay? Because you're going to get about $30,000 or $1.5 million pesos worth of coverage. But remember, once you run up that $30,000 worth of coverage in the Pacific Cross plan, then what happens is, then you have to wait a year for it to kick back in again for that same thing. Or sometimes they just won't let you, if you have a heart attack and then you have a stroke, that's two different things. That's okay, they'll cover both. But if you have a heart attack, and a heart attack, the first one costs $30,000, they're not going to cover the other two. Okay, so from what I've read, that's the way it works. Okay, now don't quote me on that, but that's the way I understood it, and that's the way I understood it from the agent that explained it to me. Now, the other insurance policy, which is like $1 million worth of coverage or something like that, is the dollar plan. They charge a lot more for that, but they don't do that to you. You're covered for basically everything. You're, soup to nuts. You're all set. Now, I'm not sure if there's any money you have to put up front or pay 10% or something like that. I think some things you do. So that's where your emergency fund comes into place. But at least you're protected. So, and you can also, each year cover the first 10,000 or something like that, and then you can get a lower rate on the really high end plan, and you can cover yourself that way if you want to do it that way, if you want to take that risk. I wouldn't. But anyway, guys, God bless. Take care. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I do want to keep on bringing up stuff like this every once in a while because we're getting a lot of new members on here. But anyway, guys, God bless. Take care.